Set in the United States, the story will focus on a father named Cooper, who works as a firefighter, but no less socializing. He and his daughter named Riley have just arrived at the concert venue of a famous singer. Whereas a good father, Cooper accompanied Riley to watch this concert, even though he actually didn't really like the crowd. It was while waiting in line that Cooper just realized that this concert was heavily guarded by many guards from the police. I don't know how important this concert is until the police intervene. Cooper chose to focus on his daughter, who looked very happy to be able to attend her idol's concert.
Riley.
Arriving at the audience seats, Cooper again noticed several guards who were almost all police officers, who coincidentally was securing a man who was considered suspicious. And this is Lady Raven, the singer who is the idol of today's youth, where Riley is very excited to see her idol live, with Cooper, who is also happy to see his daughter happy. When the opening song is still in progress, Cooper also took permission to go to the toilet and asked Riley to stay in her seat, where we will all be very surprised when Cooper opens his cell phone to check the CCTV camera, on which there is a young man who is being held in the basement, which turns out Cooper is a serial killer who is currently the most wanted fugitive. When Cooper was washing his hands, he saw an old woman standing, where it was nothing more than just Cooper's vision, and the woman's figure was his late mother.
Oh, hey! Cooper!
When going back to the concert, Cooper coincidentally met Susan, who is the mother of her school friend Riley, which some time ago there was a commotion, but it was peaceful, where Susan is a typical woman who is very talkative and chatty, so it makes Cooper feel uncomfortable.
Jody and Sarah see her sitting right there in the section.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah, good to see you.
Not only the police were involved, the FBI also intervened in this concert, so it can be concluded that this concert was not merely held for entertainment alone. Back to Cooper, who was already inside. He returned to see several guards who were still securing one by one people who were considered suspicious, where when Lady Raven was taking a short break, Cooper and Riley went out to buy merchandise in the form of t-shirts that were sold at several stalls there.
Can I get that in the small, please? I want that too.
Riley arrived late because the stock of shirts she wanted was sold out, where Cooper asked her to be patient because maybe it wasn't her fortune yet. Seeing the father's sincerity towards his daughter made one of the stall keepers named Jamie sympathize and say that there were still stock shirts in the warehouse, and he will leave one especially for Riley. Aware that Jamie is a typical good man and can be used, makes Cooper have the idea to ask about the reason why many police officers are guarding this concert.
This whole concert? It's a trap.
Wow. Here?
Yeah.
As you can't guess, this concert is a trap to catch the most wanted chain killer, who is none other than Cooper himself. Cooper was shocked. Intending to escape before the concert was over, Cooper invited his daughter to pretend to buy viral food at a shop close to the exit. Knowing that both the main door and the emergency exit were guarded by police, Cooper harmed a drunk woman by pushing her down the stairs to distract the police. But unfortunately, on the side of the outer door the police were still there, and Cooper was forced to go back inside and think of another way to escape before the concert was over. When Raven called out to her duet singer who appeared from below, Cooper incited Riley to enter the hole, but his daughter immediately refused. Frustrated that his escape opportunity was lost, Cooper went out with the excuse of buying the promised souvenirs, but Jamie forgot to prepare his stock that was still in the warehouse. Unsuspecting of the firefighters, Jamie invited Cooper to come into the warehouse, and Cooper learned that the employee door was opened using a special card. Pretending to be helpful, Cooper steals Jamie's card, and at that time Jamie said that he was interested in the serial killer's criminal activities, even kept photos of mutilated victims. Jamie's carelessness became even worse when he revealed that by saying the word Hamilton, the police would recognize that the person was a worker here. After getting the souvenir, Cooper entered another door using the card, and instead found a group of police who were giving a briefing about a serial killer. When the members were shown photos of the previous victims, a policeman asked for sugar, and fortunately Cooper guessed correctly about where the sugar was stored, so that the police did not suspect him. Before leaving the room, Cooper stole a police handy-talkie which had not yet been distributed. But at that time he met Susan again. Unexpectedly beside him 2 officers were watching him. So Cooper uses Susan to chat to make him look like a regular visitor. However, the 2 officers are distracted by the arrest of a man, and Cooper sees one of the officers named Josephine who is leading this operation. After returning to the concert, Cooper listens to police communications using the handy-talkie he stole earlier, and learns that all the men arrested are not the serial killer.
He thought all this was for him and he panicked.
In order not to be mistaken again, Cooper hears that the leader recalls the characteristics of the perpetrator who is white middle-aged, and has a goat tattoo on his wrist. Knowing that Cooper steals a bracelet to cover his tattoo, and lies to his daughter that he left his credit card at the food store earlier. After being in the corridor, Cooper heard that the highway had also been closed with a certain radius. So he was about to turn on the fire alarm so that all visitors came out massively. But when he saw CCTV pointing at him, Cooper canceled it. And at the same time, because he heard handy-talkie communication that the perpetrator might try to sound a false alarm.
It's essential. Continue checking.
After getting another plan, Cooper sneaked into one of the fast food shops and put 2 bottles of oil while increasing the temperature of the frying pan. When the employee found the bottle unexpectedly exploded in front of him, which made the police guard distracted and left his guard door. Cooper, wearing a chef's apron, went out to the upper parking lot of the building, where there were 2 officers who immediately intercepted him. Because Cooper is a psychopath who tends to be manipulative, he does not show the slightest sign of panic, and he admits to being scared after the incident in the kitchen just now. Cooper also said the code he got from Jamie, including showing the ID card he found in the apron, so the 2 officers did not suspect him at all.
By the way,
Before leaving, Cooper, who was curious about the woman's voice on the handy-talkie, asked the officers about who the woman who led the briefing this morning. The officer replied that it was a profiler. A little information. Criminal profilers are experts in charge of identifying serious criminals. They have the knowledge to recognize the behavior, psychology, and way of thinking of a criminal like Cooper, including having managed to catch about 10 people who committed the exact same crime as Cooper. So the question is whether Cooper will escape this profiler.
well, that's a relief.
Cooper again saw the image of his late mother who had nothing to do with all this. Cooper immediately returned to the audience to watch the last song of the Lady Raven concert. That's where Riley said about Lady Raven's gimmick when she would invite one lucky audience member who was invited up to the stage, including being invited backstage for a photo together. Hearing the word backstage, that's where Cooper immediately thought of a plan, and will make Riley, his daughter, chosen as the lucky audience. With his psychopathic instincts, Cooper can easily find the committee in charge of the concert. He pretended to bump into the committee, invited him to make small talk, to discuss a fake story about his daughter Riley who had just recovered from leukemia, so that the committee, who heard the convincing story, immediately appointed Riley as the lucky audience who would go on stage with Lady Raven.
Riley, you want to come dance with me?
After the concert, Riley and Cooper immediately went to the side of the stage, and accidentally saw Lady Raven's true nature, which turned out to be very kind and caring for others, when helping a crew member who fell, where Cooper saw it as an opportunity and weakness for her to get out of this place. After being backstage, Cooper immediately whispered to Lady Raven to talk face-to-face, on the grounds that he wanted to talk about Riley's illness, where when the 2 of them had entered the private room, Cooper openly said that he was the one they were all looking for. He is the figure of the butcher who is wanted. Because Lady Raven did not believe it, Cooper also showed one of his victims who is currently trapped in the basement.
Yeah.
Cooper threatened to kill the victim remotely, by using a poison that can be released only by pressing a button on his cell phone. Only one request from Cooper. He asked Lady Raven to take Cooper and Riley to her private limousine car, and get out of this place without the need for inspection.
Him? Catch me. Save him. Catch me.
In the end, Cooper managed to walk out freely without the need for inspection from the officers, while Josephine looked very disappointed with her strategy that had not worked. When Cooper asked to be dropped off not far from the concert venue, Raven unexpectedly offered to take them home. So Riley was very happy and immediately contacted her mother.
Oh my god, that would be like so incredible!
Unable to do anything in front of his daughter, Cooper was confused. And a few moments later Raven arrived at the family's house, which was then welcomed by Cooper's wife Rachel, along with her younger brother Riley. But before entering the main room, Cooper reminded Raven not to divulge secrets to his family if he wanted the victim to stay alive. When Raven was served food, Rachel asked about the excitement of the concert, so she used the question to reveal something.
And he bought tickets to my concert.
Raven said that the police found her concert ticket stub at the crime scene of the previous victim, and the police immediately coordinated with her to conduct a sting operation. After mentioning the characteristics of the perpetrator informed by the police, Raven added that the man had OCD mental disorder, where the perpetrator could not resist his desire to torture someone. Cooper, who understood the direction of the singer's conversation, asked her to go home, but Raven immediately headed to the piano to give one song before leaving. When Raven was about to be warned again about the poison gas button in the room of the victim, who turned out to be named Spencer, Raven asked Riley to sit next to her, and secretly took Riley's cell phone and put it in her pocket. After the song ended, Raven offered to take a picture, but Riley didn't find her cell phone. Raven then immediately grabbed Cooper's unlocked cell phone and took a picture, and went straight to the bathroom. When Cooper knocked to ask for his cell phone, Raven opened the CCTV of the victim who was being held hostage, while Cooper's family was heard calming him down to let the singer. Raven then asked for Spencer's details, and Spencer recalled that he was taken to a house with blue doors that had a broken lion statue in front of it. After getting this information, Raven immediately went live on social media to ask for help from her followers, so that the latest victim of the serial killer could be saved.
Who just answered? There's only...
Unexpectedly, one of the fans knew the place with the characteristics that Raven gave, and Raven asked him to get Spencer out because the perpetrator was with her. After asking the driver who was outside to call the police, Raven realized that Cooper's cell phone was locked. While outside the bathroom, Cooper was knocking harder on the door. Suddenly, Raven told Riley and the others that Cooper was the serial killer the police had been looking for. Unexpectedly heard a scream that momentarily became silent, and Cooper opened his door using the spare key and took his cell phone. While checking Spencer's condition, Cooper realized that the young man had been rescued, which made him angry and decided to kidnap Raven instead. After loading the mysterious bag into his car, Raven tried to persuade him in a tone of voice like a psychiatrist, which made Cooper briefly stunned to hear her advice.
I'm gonna sit in your seat.
Cooper unexpectedly agreed with Raven to stop his monster desire, but before that he planned to make Raven the last victim, and then promised to end his life. Cooper then immediately opened the garage door and suddenly, Cooper's wife and 2 children were already blocking his car, after they managed to get out through the bedroom window. And that was the end of Cooper's action when the police arrived there. So Cooper, who had no other choice, was forced to close the garage door and chose to hide in the house. But wait a minute, Cooper is not a typical weak person who gives up easily. He has prepared a secret tunnel that he made long ago for the possibility of a situation like this, so that when the police began to enter his house, Cooper had escaped through a tunnel that ended at the neighbor's house. Lady Raven herself was seen already in her limousine to be taken to safety. However, Cooper managed to paralyze one SWAT member and disguised himself as her limousine driver, where Lady Raven was immediately handcuffed to the car door and would be taken to a secret place far from the city. While being stuck in traffic due to the crowd, Raven again used her popularity as a famous singer by opening the window glass, which made everyone immediately surround her, where Raven also managed to break the iron bar tied to her handcuffs, and went straight out with everyone who quickly surrounded her. Shortly appeared the profiler and the police team, who asked everyone to stay away from the car. They shot the tires of the car so that Cooper could not escape. But when checked, Cooper was not there because he had gone out first and disguised himself among the crowd.
Check all the stores. Do not let the crowd leave.
The victim himself was seen being successfully evacuated. He immediately hugged Lady Raven and thanked her for saving his life. Turning to Cooper's house, the profiler had suggested that Cooper's wife go to a safe place for a while. But because she didn't like leaving the house, Rachel chose to stay there with some police guarding outside.
It's not a projection of our fears.
Shortly after the profiler left, Rachel watched the released video of the victim's abduction, where Rachel really did not expect that she had been living with a very cruel serial killer.
You always do that. You always stand with your left hand on your hip like it's holding you.
Cooper was unexpectedly behind her, concluding that it was his wife who had caused the authorities to hunt him down, which Rachel immediately admitted. It all started a few weeks ago when Rachel thought that her husband had cheated on her, because he often left the house even if it was not on weekdays. But after following Cooper, Rachel realized that he had entered a house where the serial killer's previous victims were found. Not wanting to immediately accuse Cooper of being the culprit, Rachel also deliberately dropped a tier of a Lady Raven concert ticket in the house, so that the authorities would prove it. Realizing he was right, Cooper took off his shirt and prepared a knife to kill his wife, while assuring Rachel that he would end his life after that. But before he executed her, Rachel made a final request by eating Riley's cake together, which was then obeyed. While eating the cake, Cooper explained that his purpose in torturing the victims was only to channel the whispers in his head, which finally made him peaceful after doing so. Moments later, Cooper felt dizzy, and realized that Rachel had mixed the cake from the ingredients in his mysterious bag. Cooper immediately stood up to execute, but unexpectedly he was called by the figure of his mother at the door. So Cooper felt happy that all this time the figure was not a hallucination. But when the figure asked him to come closer, the police appeared while firing an electric gun, and Cooper had time to survive to attack an officer. Josephine, who had been acting as Cooper's mother, unexpectedly appeared and immediately knocked him down, so Cooper could be secured. As a last request, Josephine allowed his to fix the position of his daughter's bicycle, and at that time Riley was just discharged, so the two embraced. In the prison car, Cooper pulled out the hidden bike spokes, and smiled wickedly when he managed to open the handcuffs. Meanwhile, on the other hand, Jamie was shocked after seeing the real face of the serial killer on the national news, and regretted having talked so much with the perpetrator. And the movie ends. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the next video.